I have a very disturbing situation, but I'm going to let the caller on line 3, perfectly timed on Johnny Kropsick's part. Thank you so much. Robert, do not say your name for HIPAA reasons. My client, this is Robert so-and-so. Do not say your name for HIPAA reasons, the last name. You can say your first name, but we don't discuss any personal matters on the airwaves. This is a nonprofit, 100% advice show with sponsors, obviously, for commercials. But our number one thing is we're HIPAA compliant. So welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Okay.
Okay.
Doing all right.
So now, for those of us listening at home, please tell me the scenario that you just understood was supposed to be, I don't know, just explain what happened, and then I'll explain the real deal behind the scenes. Go ahead.
Well, what happened is...
No names either from where she is. No names. We just keep it generic.
No. Okay. The interest is up at the convalescent home, and they were supposed to send her home, which I cannot take care of her here. So the consequence is that the only way that she could stay there would be to get on Medicare for 100 days, and I would pick up another insurance to cover up the Part D. And I can't see why anybody would try to do that, because it doesn't sound right to me.
But unfortunately, you weren't sharp enough to catch it, correct?
Yes, it took me a while to put the 2 and 2 together.
Okay.
And that's what I come up with.
So, to my listeners out there, this is why I didn't want you to go away. Keep the radio on today. This is really, it tugged at my heartstrings yesterday. I myself, when I get stressed, really super stressed, my body starts locking up. It's not easy being a business owner, and it's certainly not easy selling insurance. So, double stress. I can't say enough that Lisa Lewis, I'm going to say her last name and violate HIPAA, did such a phenomenal job, took this man under his wing. I'm upstairs on the phone. She has no clue what I'm doing, but I'm doing behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm calling in favor after favor. I actually had to go pretty high up into the Office of the Healthcare Advocate, and then to the left to the Department of Social Services. Please let me just explain this scenario. This gentleman, unfortunately, Robert, no last names, but you're in the mid-80s, correct?
Right.
Correct. So the mid-80s, you start not being as sharp as a 46-year-old insurance agent who's been doing this for 23-plus years. So unfortunately, this skilled nursing facility is looking out for, of course, the client, they say. Let me explain something. When you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, you need to have either a lot of money saved or be able to use just the network. Why? Because there's copays. And I'm going to go over that during my skilled nursing facility part of the show. But there are copays. You get the first 20 days for free on most plans. Some plans you don't, some plans you do. I'll go over that in nausea after Robert gets off the phone. But this particular individual is on a skilled nursing facility plan, Medicare Advantage plan, not a Medicare supplement where you get 100 days. A Medicare supplement is $275 or $250, or on the lower end, $203 per month. Now, there's a Plan K that's $80, but you get caught with 50% of everything. And so if a caller wants to call in and call me on that, I got plenty of ammunition for that. But most average Medicare supplements are $200 to $250 to $275. And if you're disabled, like my good friend that called in before, she was young. She couldn't get a Medicare supplement with a lower price. She's under 65, so she gets a much more expensive plan. But anyway, to make a long story short, this gentleman's married. So $250 per month is $500 a month, $6,000 a year. They happen to not have the $6,000 a year to spend just for insurance. So he has taken out a Medicare Advantage plan through me. This gentleman is one of the only clients in my entire 23-year history that offered me a beer. Robert, I will never forget the day. He says to me, well, would you like a beer? I said, no, I can't. I have to be in sound mind and body. I'm not allowed to do that. I have a contract. I have an insurance license. He goes, all right, how about after we're done with the entire transaction? I go put everything in the car, lock it up, seal it up, make sure it's in the trunk. And I said, you know what? This gentleman wants a friend. His wife, unfortunately, was very sick a long time. And we sat down and just had one Bud Budweiser, not a Bud Light, which is my favorite, but I had a Budweiser with him. You don't forget those things. This gentleman took the time to tell me his life story. He and his brother had a successful carpentry company, French-Canadian, just a great man. And I, have taken to him. And so throughout the years, it's always no problem. This is the good plan for you, sir, so-and-so. All of a sudden, I get a call. And Robert says to me, well, I don't know. He's a little upset now. He's like, I just thought it was the right thing. This skilled nursing facility took it upon themselves to cancel his wife's insurance, put her back on original Medicare, and pick a Part D. Now, I'll go over more of that with the Agency on Aging because they're phenomenal. But this particular non-licensed individual, and Lisa will vouch for this, we're both like, what the heck? Non-licensed individual, a clerical person in the billing department somehow did this. Oh, and the gentleman on the phone was like, we do this all the time. Do you really? Well, what happens if she falls like my very good friend who owns a very big lumber company fell and broke a body part, and they have to take an ambulance to get the hip done or the neck done or the spine done or the wrist done? Who pays that 20% at the hospital? Oh, what are you talking about? Original Medicare only covers 80% of the bill. The 20% is either with the Advantage plan or the supplement. Oh, really? Yeah, really. So what happened? Well, she's not leaving here. Are you guaranteeing me she's not going to fall out of the wheelchair? It's happened to me at least 5 times, okay, in 23 years. Don't try to pull the wool over this guy's eyes. So then they're like, oh, really? So then Mr. So-and-so on the phone, my friend Robert, had forgotten to redetermine, and I always help my friends. I even went so far to drove to a very good listener's apartment, and boy, have I really got a sense of love for that guy. I know that you have to redetermine your QMB, Qualified Medicare Beneficiary, every year. Now, I am proud to say that I am the owner, so the very, very hardworking staff in my office has taken upon themselves to do it. That can no longer happen in the future, people. We have to start charging at least a small fee. It's just taking up so much time. Nothing crazy. Maybe $20, $25. I got to talk to my attorney, Vincent Faricello, and get the exact amount on that. My labor law guy over at Carmody and Torrance, Sandeck, and so. But anyway, to make a long story short, it's got to be a consulting thing. So we always consult to do the right thing because it's the right thing. So this gentleman forgets the form, right? He loses his QMB. His income hasn't changed. He now is shut off. So Lisa goes into Superwoman mode, gets online, and somehow I get a transmission. I call my people at the Department of Social Services, and I say, here's the transmission number. I am not joking when I say this needs to be turned on now. This is a scenario that if they don't have QMB and she goes into the hospital, they're on the hook for 20% of the bill. Oh, really? They're saying again at the skilled nursing. We didn't think of that. But you made sure you got drug coverage because you knew that there'd be a penalty to the client if they didn't purchase drug coverage. So what happened was this gentleman who's in his mid-80s got corrected. They did the right thing. They did the right thing by getting her 100 days. So what happens is on a Medicare Advantage plan, you only get days 1 through 20 for free. And unfortunately, with Jerry being in ICU for 6 months, I've seen that sometimes you need more than 20 days. Medicare, original Medicare, will give you 100 days, but it does leave a gap of 20%. So it does give you 100 days at the skilled nursing facility. This gentleman is looking like a scared deer in headlights, not knowing what to do now. And thank God, and Larry Rifkin's listener said, yeah, you got to have church in your life. I do believe in church. I'm not a Bible banger by any means. I have missed St. John's a few times. I try to go. I am adjusting to the new and with your spirit. And Lord, I am not worthy to enter under your roof. That was never before. But you have to have some sort of higher being, and that higher being was me that day. We did the right thing for the client. We got him the QMB turned back on. She is hopefully resting, and she will be there for 100 days. He never purchased a long-term care policy. So you and I, my friend, have to worry about what happens after 100 days if she comes home. We'll have to start applying for some assistance through the Agency on Aging. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do on that end. But at least we've bought ourselves, it sounds like another, 70-something days she's got?
Yes.
All right. Does that scenario, like I described it, sound similar to what happened to you?
Yes, that is exactly the same thing.
And if there wasn't a good agent, would you have known any of that, what happened behind the scenes?
No.
Right.
Never.
Do you have any young children? Do you have any children in their 30s, 40s, or anything like that?
No, they're a little older than that.
Okay, you and I have to talk off air. We have to get some kind of power of attorney for you and G. No last names, no names for HIPAA, nothing. I've kept it as generic as I can. But you've got to get something in writing to establish some sort of someone in control of your medical care. And I know you believe me. It's very affordable. You can get an attorney to do it, like Carla Perugini Erickson or Bob Lubis. Those are both two people I trust. Bill Ward, I trust him up in Litchfield and Naugatuck. We need to get at least somebody. I've heard you can get it with just a notary. But for the small fee, it's sometimes worth it to have it in writing. You and I do need to do a little bit of planning so that doesn't happen to you again, if you don't mind.
No, I would love that.
God bless. Thank you so much for calling in. I know you really didn't want to do this, but people think that everyone is always out for their best interest. Not really. It's so convenient that skilled nursing facility is going to get paid now another 80 days. And why didn't they want to use QMB? QMB is a form of Medicaid. It's Department of Social Services. They didn't want to get $63 on every 100. They knew if they could get this client back on original Medicare, they would get $83 to $85 on every 100. And who makes out there? Let's see. Maybe not the client, huh? It's always, you got to be worrying about yourself. Please, out there, if you are a son or a daughter, care about your parents. This is really a scary time. The economy's bad. We've just lost GE. And with that departure of money, there is going to be more QMB people because, A, the economy in Connecticut's going to take a hit. I just care about people and I care about insurance. So, Robert, God bless you. I cannot thank you enough for awakening my listeners that this stuff does really happen. It does it not?
Well, Michael, I really thank you very much for that help. It's just, I was at a point where I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat.
Yeah, that's
all I had in my mind.
Right. No, and we fixed it. The facility's fine. They didn't violate it. But when you don't have power of attorney and someone cancels your insurance, that is a major HIPAA violation. I don't know where. Oh, we do this all the time. Do you really? That's not right. Make sure people that you trust have paperwork to act on your behalf. Robert, have a great Thursday, and thank you for your time.
Again, thank you very much.
My pleasure. I really, really appreciate you calling in. Thank you.